Hey guys, it's Rocco Gigante here, coming at you guys with another State of the Community commentary. In this commentary, we'll be touching on turf and the many problems with that. So, as many of you know, Gigante didn't do turf for about a year. People, say, oh, Gigante doesn't have turf, they don't have shit. I'd always just tell them, bro, turf doesn't matter, it's just pretty emblems on a map. Now, as many of you have seen, the past 2 or 3 months, Gigante got back into turf, and I'll pop the turf map as it is right now, currently on the screen. So as you can see, Gigante and Renato as a whole is really holding down a good majority of the map. I think Easy Deus was telling me we have something like 20 turfs altogether. And from a commission that didn't have any turf 2, 3 months ago, I think that goes to show. Turf still doesn't mean shit, and I'll get into that in this video. Now, this is a warning to you. I know we're only at the 1 minute mark. This video is going to be long. There is going to be lots of screenshots and lots of reading to do. So, without further ado, we'll properly get into the commentary, get into the video. So, I figured I'd split it into sections here. We'll start off with section 1 right now. Why Gigante got back into turf? So, it's actually a fairly simple answer. Like I said, I've been saying for a long time turf didn't matter. We got back into turf for two reasons. One, we noticed there was a lot of motherfuckers holding turf. A lot of families in this community that didn't deserve it. A lot of families who would hide behind their rules and hide behind turf wars like it mattered. Listen, to that whole La Morte commission that was holding down half the fucking map, for Renato to come in less than 2 or 3 months, knock you right out of the map, except for some little morsels up there, up north on the Los Santos map, for Renato to come in and knock you right off the map, without even really trying, without even really caring, just goes to show how much turf matters. Alright? You guys wanted to run your mouths, say this about Gigante, say that about Gigante. All it took me was something like 4 wars to go in and take 90% of your turf away from you and all your big pieces. You kids weren't shit then, you're not shit now, and as we proved it today, Aleo wanted to talk shit when we called them out, prepare for a long war, and they DQ'd on their own rules in an hour and 6 minutes. You really want to claim turf is everything? Then why are you losing it all? And so I think it goes without saying, as far as, the turf that Gigante has, it's not just pretty emblems on a map. I have reasons for all the turf that I have. I have the Pillbox Hill, which is the big green one in the middle of the map. That's where construction is. Everybody knows that's where Gigante sits. And you look at Del Piero, that's where Giovanni's restaurant is. That's where we hold our meetings. We go back there and have a sit down, talk business. There are reasons for all the turf that I have. I don't just do it because it's big happy emblems on a map. And I've said that since day one. Majority of this community, it's just big happy emblems. They're just happy with having their crew emblem on the map. No, it's fucking stupid. It makes no sense. If you're not going to actually sit at your turf, why the fuck would you waste time fighting for it? And so now that we got that out of the way, I'll get into the problems with turf. I think there are many problems. Obviously, some of them involve me, and I'll get into that and explain from my point of view exactly what happened right here. And I'm sure lots of you will have a lot to say on this matter. So many of you know Trax. He was a turf overseer, and he was also a part of Vetrano at the time. He had been running this Phantom family, this family called Varzi, Varzi, and they had been going out. And I shouldn't say they, it was Trax. Trax was going out, he was calling families out, and those families weren't regarding the call out because they knew the family didn't really exist. But by not acknowledging the call out, they were actually losing their turf, as you have to respond either within 48 hours, or if you do respond in 48 hours, you have 2 weeks to send rules. So what happened was, Trax had come to me and said, hey, would you like Pillbox? And this was before I was in turf, so I was obviously reluctant, as for those of you who don't know, and I'm not even going to touch on it in this video, we had our turf taken away a year and a half prior to all of this for literally not attending one Don's meeting. We had, I think, 8 turf at the time, and it just got taken away. But enough about that, let's get back into the track situation. And so in this next screenshot, you'll see a couple days later, he's, telling me he can get me the turf. Now, at this time, I want to reiterate, I have no knowledge of Varzi. After this conversation, I actually pull him into a party and I say, yo, listen, Vetrano and us aren't cool. How the fuck are you going to call them out and then convince Rob to gift me Pillbox? It's not going to happen. And, Trax in his ways, goes, oh, don't worry about it. I'll find out a way. And so, unbeknownst to me, Trax had this whole family calling Aleo out to try to get Pillbox. They'd accepted and not sent rules. And so Trax was betting on them not accepting. Maybe they forgot, and the turf would go to Varzi, and he would be able to gift it to me. Now, once again, I did not know about the Varzi situation until way after the callouts, and I actually didn't find out until the 1st of May, which once again is actually the day that Varzi could claim that turf, as Aleo didn't respond. Now, the screenshot you're seeing is the night that I found out, and here, and I can show proof. As you can see, he goes, I just got off work, get on soon. And then we got on, we talked in a party. He told me about the Varzi situation, and then this is the next message. And so a couple hours have gone by. I had got out of the party with him, and then he messaged me. He goes, hey, you want the turf? The time has come. It's officially Varzi's. I can gift it to you right now. Now, should I have accepted the turf? Probably not. But if I didn't accept the turf, it would have went to somebody else. And as far as I was concerned, it wasn't my doing. I didn't know. I didn't plan for it. But I was going to accept the gift. Now, we'll get into the other bit of this situation. This is the real problem that I have. So about a month goes by. Gigante's been defending the turf. We're putting in work, because it's Pillbox Hill. It's our home. And it gets out that Trax is Varzi. There was a situation with Lucania that I'm not even going to touch it with here, where Trax had called out Lucania, got some turf. Lucania challenged that. They said, hey, Varzi isn't a real family. People instantly went, oh, fuck. Varzi had gifted Gigante turf. It has to be Gigante. So I put it out there that it was Trax. I said, listen, it's not me. You're attacking the wrong guy. You really want to look at the guy who's doing it, Lucania. It's actually a guy in Vincier. It's Trax. And so Aleo goes, oh, fuck. So it wasn't even a real family. Lucania can get their turf back. So can I. Now, the issue with that is, and I'm going to post screenshots up here right now, a family cannot challenge after 48 hours. I had to defend that turf for a month. And then Aleo just gets it back. And this is a problem. We're holding people's hands in this community. It's not my problem that Lucania identified a problem, said, hey, this isn't the way things should go. I want to challenge this. I'm going to use the advantage that I have been given, and I'm going to challenge this decision. And that's what he did. Aleo did not. They just accepted it and went upon their way, like the typical retards they are. Now, once again, these Aleo children are the same people that a year and a half ago took Gigante's turf because we didn't go to a Don's meeting. It's these retards. They don't use their heads, they have no form of individuality, and they're not able to think as individuals, let alone think as a family. And it's just ridiculous. So, of course, Savelli had been back in turf overseers, and they say, oh, what Trax did wasn't right. And I will not deny what Trax did, it wasn't right. But the rules are the rules. And if we stop following the rules, it breaks the principle of what we're fighting for. And so, what happened was, turf overseers make a decision. They go, you know what, Gigante? That turf you've been fighting for a month, we're stripping it away from you, and we're gifting it back to Aleo. Despite you fighting for it and defending it, it's going back to Aleo. And like I said, if they had a challenge out within 48 hours, I would have understood. The problem is, you've waited a month. And so you've got all these people giving Aleo handouts so they can stay in the fight. Just because they can't use their brains. They can't be free thinkers. They can't see a problem, identify it, and fix it. And that's not just a problem in this community, it's a problem in life, but we'll talk about that another time. So, anyways, I got my turf taken away. I took it like a man. I stood up for what I believed in. I didn't think it should have happened, but it got taken away. I said, alright, I'm going to call it Aleo. Fuck it. They want to run their mouths, they want to say this, this, and that, I'll go take it from them then. That way there'll be no excuses. And so we'll get into that. And so, as you can see right here, on May 29th of 2020 at 3:50 a.m., I want you to remember that time, 3:50 a.m., I at Aleo, I at my own family, I say, we call you out to a turf war for Pillbox. We're putting up Little Soul, you have 48 hours to accept. So, bearing that in mind, take a look at these rules that are in the Mafia Community Discord and the Don's Discord. This is where our rules are kept. And so, bearing all those rules in mind, explain to me this. Why the fuck is my war after the 2 weeks by over 12 hours? I don't know. Here, I'll explain it to you guys. So Aleo schedules the war, and they wait 12 days, but they schedule it after the 2 weeks. So I say to Turf Overseers, hey, that needs to be rescheduled. Could you just fix the time, Aleo? And they do. And so they send this set of rules and time. And so this was my response. Obviously, the problem with that one is you didn't give me 48-hour notice. Scarfo, who's a Turf Overseer, agreed that they need to give me 48 hours notice, just like the rule says. And so by the time these idiots even realize what's going on, they call me out on the 10th. Now, if anybody can do basic math, can see that the 10th is 48 exact hours or less to do the turf war. So by this exact rule, they can't do it because they can't give me 48 hours notice. So by that logic, I should have won the war by default. As in order to give me 48 hours, they would need to schedule the war outside of the 2 weeks. And so Rob, everybody's resident retard, doesn't get this. He doesn't understand the rules. He says, I'm being unfair by following the rules. And so this is where we circle back to holding their hands. Because Aleo fucked up, because they waited 12 days to send me rules, it's all okay. We can schedule the war after the 2 weeks because it's against Gigante. And people can say whatever they want. People can say that I whine about stuff in the chats. Listen, that's not the fucking case. This is another clear example of bias against Gigante. I made a whole video telling you people that Vetrano is inferior, that they can't compete with us. And this goes to add on to that. These kids can't beat us in the games, so they try to fuck us in turf wars. They try to get any little jab they can because they know they can't get us in the game. And it's an absolute joke. However, I will say this. That turf war happened today. Like I said, Aleo memed on it. They said, be ready for a long war, and it lasted an hour and 6 minutes, and they DQ'd on their own rules. So, Aleo's really not a problem. The war really isn't a problem. The problem is, turf is a fucking joke. We have these rules that we're supposed to be following, but because it's Gigante, because Vetrano doesn't like me and they're a turf overseer, it's fine. We can schedule it outside of the 2 weeks. It's a fucking joke. It's not right that all these families have to follow these rules, but when it comes to Gigante, you can bend them. But not bend them in a good way. No. Right, because I couldn't keep my turf, even though it had been over a month, and they were only supposed to challenge it if it was within the 48 hours immediately after the awarding of Varzi. No. We'll only bend the rules if it's gonna fuck Gigante. And so people can say whatever they want. They can say this and that about Gigante, but this is another example that goes to show it is always Renato versus this community. It doesn't matter. I could be the best kind of person in the world. I can be nice to everybody I meet. But it's not going to matter. These kids hate Renato, they hate Gigante, and they have this agenda built up, and they're going to do everything they can do to fuck us, because they can't whack us, they can't win free mode wars against us, so they got to find other ways to stop it. And at this point, like I said, you're able to form your own opinions off this video. I'm just showing you my experience in the last month to 2 months, and why I wasn't doing turf, and that it wasn't just a shield that we were hiding behind. Turf is a fucking joke. And whatever system is in place needs to be fixed because it hasn't been working for the past year and it's certainly not working now. So, like I said, I'll leave it there. I hope you guys all have a good night. Buona fortuna.